All right. Well, let's rock and roll. All right, guys, we are live. We're here. We're on.
How's it going, everybody?
Do you know what week we're on? Because I sure don't. I think I lost count.
You did a couple without me, but I think 7 or 8, something like that, maybe.
I thought it was
maybe more.
Bad
maybe more.
I don't know if it's
maybe
9,
more.
10, or 8, or I don't know. Well, here we are, guys, for the multiple time.
Yeah, we have a fun topic today, and we've got an awesome guest, so it's going to be a good time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Yeah, we got people chiming in already, man. They're coming in. It shows a total of about 70 people so far, which is phenomenal. They're going to start pouring in little by little. I'm going to start. Let's see. Let's start. Let's go, you flipping geniuses. We're gonna highlight some people for a second. So Jerry, kind of give us a little intro. If someone's here for the first time, what is it that we love to do every Tuesday, and what can they expect from tonight? Why I come through and I'll start introducing some people here.
Yeah, so Cody's really good about bringing on a guest, somebody that can share their experience. So we like to drill down on a specific topic and make it very relevant. So we're going to be talking about some things here that are pertinent to a specific deal. That's really good because it kind of allows everybody listening to kind of see, down in the nitty gritty of putting deals together. We've got a topic today that's very relevant to what's going on in the real estate market, and that's how to win deals even in a competitive market. So we're going to talk about that, and Cody, hopefully we can make some time for some live Q&A. I know everybody loves that. One thing, guys, if you could try your best to keep the questions relevant to the topic, that'd be really helpful. But we're going to try to get to some Q&A. So definitely participate in the chat box. I see lots of comments in there right now.
This one is. We've even got some active people saying Bob is going to drop some bombs.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
For those that know Bob, I'm telling you, he's going to drop bombs. This guy's solid.
Yeah, good. Well, Cody, why don't you kick us off, and we'll get Bob sharing about what's going on with him, and we'll do this.
Well, guys, I'm excited to be here. This is one of my favorite, and I might be lagging. Does it show like I'm lagging on the screen to you guys too?
Not for me.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm super excited to be here. I'm Jerry. This is one of my favorite things I do every week. And so I want you to know how much I appreciate you. And I love that we get to do this and just pour into people and just see how we can just help them and give them maybe their next little action item. So I always ask people, get out a pad of paper. I know this is old school, but get out a pad of paper, get a pen. There's going to be some amazing gold nuggets dropped tonight. I can promise you that. That is something that we always will make sure that we're giving value to make sure that you could leave here with just some simple instruction to go act upon. Guys, we appreciate you being here. You guys make us feel like rock stars, your kind comments. But guys, the real value behind this is not to just feel the warm and fuzzies. It's to get out of here, get out of your own way, and start acting upon some of these little principles that you're going to learn tonight, and realize that each one of you guys can find off-market deals. Each one of you can do this. I'm positive of that. If Jerry can do it, look at this guy over here that I'm pointing to myself. I have two guests that have incredible beards, and then I have this Patch Adams, Cody Hoffine, that can't grow a beard still at 37 years old. Guys, telling you, if this guy can wholesale homes that can't grow a beard, each one of you guys can wholesale homes. So I'm excited. Bob is he's one of my dear friends. I've hung out with Bob multiple times. He's gone through coaching programs. He's come out to Scale. In fact, he has his Scale shirt.
Hey, look at that.
Scale shirt. Look at that bad boy. It's like, yeah. Guys, you're going to love this guy. He is one of the kindest, sincere investors you're going to ever meet, who genuinely has, probably not just in stature and height, because this guy is so much taller than I am, but he has a big matching heart to go with this guy. This guy's incredible. You're going to love the way he serves each and every one of his sellers that he talks to, and you're going to learn from a real live case study. So as we get going, guys, like Jerry said, hone your questions into this case study. If you have specific questions of where he got his list or how he's marketing to them or certain things like that, these are perfect questions because Bob's here to share with you step by step how he just recently did a deal that paid him a good chunk of money, but it came with a big heart and serving individuals better than his competition. So get ready because this is my dear friend, Bob Antony from Memphis, and he's only been wholesaling, guys, for about 2.5 years. So Bob, kind of give us a little background about yourself. What got you into wholesaling?
All right. Well, Cody, I just want to start and say thanks again for having me on here. Jerry, it's great to finally get to meet you here. I've been watching an awful lot of your material on YouTube, and I've gotten a lot out of it. So, so thanks again. So I'm a corporate guy. I've been in corporate America for over 20 years altogether, and I was never very satisfied with where I was going. In that I got to the level of being a middle manager, and that's a slow trickle that's just going to eventually kill you over time. So I hated it. I couldn't stand it. It got to be so political to be able to move forward, and I just struggled with it. So, but I was also tied in with the golden anchor. I mean, I was making a good amount of money. So what eventually happened, and looks like Jerry's got a little partner there.
Guys, this is what's phenomenal. I just put up a post at the perfect time. This is number 9. Number 10 was just born though. Right? Did I say the numbers right?
Yeah, that's right. This is 9. Yep.
Say hi.
It was a week ago today, wasn't it?
See, and they know their names. Their names are literally numbers. Jerry doesn't even remember their names. So he's just like, 9, get over here. 10, this is your job. 7, over there.
Right. Well, congratulations on number 10 there, Jerry.
Thank you.
So where I was going though, it's corporate world was tough. I was I was making a good salary. I was content with that, but I was just not very happy overall. So I knew it was going to come to an end at some point. Where I was working, they started to have a reduction in force. And I was one of 2 managers that was working in a lab that was steadily decreasing in numbers. So I knew it was inevitable. So I started researching what I needed to do to be successful outside of the corporate world, and I came across a podcast with Tom Kroll through Bigger Pockets that was just crazy, insane energy, and I knew I needed to get involved with wholesaling. So I bought the course back in towards the end of 2018. Just jumped right in. I was let go from my corporate job in October of 2018, and by December I got my first couple deals in place. So that's me.
Holy smokes! So Jerry, if you heard that, gets laid off in October, and by December, already popping out deals.
I know, that's awesome. Sometimes it's that push that you need, like that bad thing that happened, but then it opens a door for you, and you realize what a blessing that is actually. So that's cool.
Right. Yeah. Looking back at it, it was honestly one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So Bob, let's get right to the meat and potatoes, guys.
All right.
As we go, do not hesitate. I want you to always know this is live Q&A. We're going to get to it. There's so many side chats going on. Just so you know, I'm going to do my best. I'm smiling here because I know I still have a lot of room for failure here, but I'm seeing so much good stuff going on. I am going to do my best to answer questions. Jerry, if we skip past one and you happen to read one on the side, let me know and we'll just announce it without bringing it up on the screen. Just say, like, hey, I just saw a good question. Let's ask this. But we're going to do our best, guys. We really genuinely love and want your questions. It's what makes this time with you really powerful. It's Bob's story, sharing you a case study coupled with your incredible questions and our input on how to answer that. So please bring them, and we're going to do the best we can answering them. So Live Q&A starts now. Keep it honed in. Like I said, keep it honed in to what we're talking about, so that we can really make this really laser focused to help you guys. So Bob, let's break it down from the beginning. No different than we would on a podcast. It's going to be just kind of simple. What to this lead that we're going to be talking about, how did you find this lead? What marketing? Well, let's start with the list, and then what marketing channel did you use to get your message to them?
Okay, so I recently got a deal under contract. So it was from absentee owners. So it was an absentee owner list that I got, and I use PropStream to get my lists. I think PropStream is a pretty good tool to use overall, and you get like 10,000 leads a month with your subscription. So I
love that. Guys, if you're not using PropStream, that's such a simple tool, guys. Such a simple tool. It gives you access to the MLS. So if you're not a realtor, you don't need to be. You can literally have access to the MLS through PropStream. And like you said, you get 10,000 extractions every month. Keep going.
Yep. So it's a good tool to use. I got my list of absentee owners together. I mailed out postcards. You
mean to tell me postcards and mail is not dead?
It is not dead. It's alive. I tell you, that's what I do. About 90 to 95% of my efforts are postcards. I have done some texting as well, but I do still the majority of my marketing is all direct mail.
I love this. Let's start with a couple so we can keep up, because there's already a ton of questions coming in. Bob, Jerry, is wholesaling saturated?
Well, this actually aligns really well with our topic, if I can tackle that one first, which is, we're in a very, very competitive market right now, and that's due to inventory. There's low inventory, which means there's a whole lot of people chasing too few deals, right? So in that type of situation, what it does is it presents kind of a double-edged sword. It's, on one hand, it's really difficult to get a good deal in the sense that there's a lot of people trying to get that same deal. On the flip side, when you land that good deal, it's home run on your flips, right? On your wholesales and flips on your exit, because you're going to get more than ever before for those deals. So a lot of people look at it like, man, it's so competitive right now, and that's a negative thing, or I'm so discouraged about that. Don't be discouraged about that, because the trade-off is you're gonna get way more for your deals than you ever did before. So it's okay, right? We make up for it on the back end. And I like to look at it and say, it just means I got to work a little harder on the front end, and then I'm going to smash it on the back end, and I'm okay to do that, right? So is it saturated? The market's competitive just because of low inventory, and that's all around. That's not just on the wholesale side, on distressed real estate. That's on retail real estate. That's all real estate in pretty much every single market. So the question shouldn't be, does it work or should I do it? But rather, how do I win with competition? And that's a completely different mindset when you kind of take on that idea, which is, all right, it's competitive. There's a lot of people chasing the deals. How do I win in a competitive market?
Dude, such solid advice. I don't even know if I need to add anything to that. That's solid. Yeah. It's like, drop the mic, bro. I will tell you, here's another good one that Bob's already starting to tell. So specific to this, guys, he used a software, he said, was PropStream, that he pulled his absentee owner list. Awesome. So he does that. And then he sent a postcard. Bob, in like a easy way, what does this postcard say, or what is a good postcard to send to people so people can get real-time value, what they should be sending?
Right. So what I do, it's just a simple postcard. I use Open Letter Marketing. It's a great it's a great company out there that sends out postcards. The rates are pretty reasonable, but it's a simple postcard. It looks handwritten, and I use a pink postcard to kind of stand out a little bit. Jerry's talking about you got to be a little bit different, try to stand out. So I use a pink postcard. I mean, I've got one right over here. And it's simple. It looks handwritten, and it just basically says, I'm interested in buying your property at 123 Main Street, and it talks about a couple of the benefits that I can provide: all cash, close quick, no closing costs, those types of things, and a phone number. And that's really about it. There's nothing magical about a postcard. You just got to send them.
I love it. So the beautiful thing, guys, I want you to keep it simple. Notice that it didn't show a home with like a for sale sign in the front yard and this happy couple and you're shaking hands with them. And it's like just screams at you like, I'm trying to sell you on something. Every one of us has received a postcard where there's a spider dead upside down. It's like, oh, a pest control company is trying to market to me. And you already know it before you even read the message, right? So how do you make it where they have to read the message to know what it's about? That is marketing. It's the right message to the right people at the right time. That's the trifecta. That's the holy grail. The right message to the right people at the right time. But you got to get them intrigued enough to know, what is it that I'm holding? What is this that I have in my hand? And if you put a dead spider, obviously you know you're getting marketed to. If you put the home with the for sale sign that says sold across it, you know you're getting marketed to. You want this so plain dead, like simple, that it is just a handwritten message, so people have to read it. They don't know if it came from the local church, the local scouts. They don't know where it came from until they read the message. And that is marketing. That's the power of marketing. So keep it very, very simple when it comes down to the postcard. I love that. Before we hop on and keep going on to this, at what age can you start wholesaling? Jerry, do you actually know a physical age? Because I actually don't even know if there's a physical number to this.
Well, I mean, you have to be 18 to sign a contract, probably in most states, I would think. So I'm going to tell my joke, Cody. Are you listening this time?
Hey, I'm listening. I promise. Bob, this is so bad. Last time, Jerry, I'm looking at this sideline, and you guys know every man, not just Cody Hoffine, let's call a spade a spade. Every man cannot do two things at once. And so I'm sitting over here trying to figure out our next question, and Jerry spits out this joke. And then it goes silent, and I look up, and I'm like, "Oh crap, I missed his joke." So I'm all, and I fake it. I'm all, "Dude, that was a good one, Jerry." And then at the end, I call Jerry. I'm all, "Dude, I'm so sorry I wasn't there to laugh at your joke. Like, I'm so sorry, bro. That won't happen again." I'm listening. I'm all ears. Here's what I love about Jerry. He didn't get mad, but he prepped me this time. He says, "Cody, are you ready? Because I got a good joke." So Jerry, I'm all ears, bro.
Okay, so. I had this 16-year-old who had been watching my videos, and he's like taking action, and he's got this concern, which is, well, how do I sign a contract? So he goes to his dad and he says, "Dad, if I get a deal, will you sign for me?" And his dad says, "Yes." So then he goes out, he makes offers, he gets a deal. And then his dad says, "You know what? No, I don't want to sign on this. I don't want to sign on your deal." So he messages me and he says, "What do I do? My dad reneged on me. He's not going to sign now." And I said to him, "Well, do what my kids do and go ask your mom."
This is all true. This is all true. And
go ask mom. If dad says no, go ask mom.
This is all true. And guess what? You'll find out that we're never on the same page. Mom will be, "Yeah, I'll sign it." This is what happens for school, by the way. They go to mom. Mom's like, "I'm not signing it. That was your problem." And they catch me when I'm on the phone. They're like, "Dad, you need to sign this for school." And what I did is just sign an authorization to leave school, and I didn't even know. Like 12-year-old. He's too smart.
But to get to the question here, I mean, honestly, if you think about the intellect involved in wholesale, I mean, it's addition, subtraction, a little bit of multiplication and division to really run numbers, figure out what a deal is. It's like, what, third grade math is as much as we use to wholesale houses, right? It's not rocket science. It's more about, are you willing to get in front of people? Are you willing to be consistent? Can you take action? Can you figure out how to value a property? Again, that's really simple math. This is not rocket science, and good thing I'm not overly intelligent, but I can hustle. So wholesaling is more about hustle than it is about anything else. So if you're like, well, at what age, and the age is an indicator of intellect, I mean, 13, I don't know. You know, can you sign a contract? You probably need to be 18. So don't let age ever limit you. That's just a limitation and an excuse. Just like I don't have money or whatever it is. That's not a reason why you can't do this business. You're going to have to overcome some things, right? You're young. People maybe aren't going to take you super serious because you look young, or signing contracts, whatever. Just look for solutions to those things and get in the game. Man, I would have given anything to start this business when I was 15 or 16 or, whatever. I didn't start till 27. Cody was just a couple years ago, so he's in his mid 30s. So guys, if you're really interested in this business and you're young or old, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you guys, one of my rock star elite mentoring students came through my program at like 72, and he's like a 7-figure income earner, and he started at 72, right? So age is just a number. It doesn't matter.
I love it. In fact, I'm on the phone, just so you know, Jerry, I'm on the phone on Thursday with your son that is living in Utah, and I'm going to bring him over to the squad, man. I'm hoping to hear some good things. I'm hoping to get dirt on you where he's like, I don't want to work for my dad. I want to work for you. And I'm like, yes, let's do it, boy.
Yeah, better for our relationship if he doesn't, but he's hustling. I'm excited for your interview with him.
It's going to be fun. Good stuff. He's down there right now visiting, right?
Yeah, he's here now for a few days. Yep, seeing the baby.
That's awesome. Well, let's keep rolling. So we're gonna keep going. So Bob, you send out this postcard. You kept it simple, the messaging.
Right.
What did this phone call sound like? I think what's crucial, guys, is when you get into wholesaling, it's all about two things that I always look for, and that is motivation and equity. So those are the two things. So you get this phone call in, someone gets your postcard, they call you. How do you begin? Like, let's break down this phone call, but what is your method to find out if there's motivation and equity? And what did this phone call sound like that let you know, man, these things are in place?
Right. So I got the call, and if the way I do it, or I approach every phone call I'm on, is I usually push for the no first. So when they call me, or actually it's when I call them, it's hard to do when they're calling me, but I'll usually ask, do you have a few minutes to discuss the property? When I'm calling them, I ask them if I'm catching them in the middle of something, and usually it's no, 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 no. Well, that's giving them the permission to say no, and that's kind of changing their mindset. It's also helping with the idea of that I'm building trust along the way.
Yeah.
So I usually shoot for the no at first. So he called me. I take the call, and he starts talking about it was his mother-in-law's property. She passed away. Well, actually, his mother's property, and so he became the trustee on it. There weren't any title issues. They were going to sell. They wanted a cash offer. They wanted to close within the next 30 days.
Wow. So you already knew time frame and all this stuff. These are some of the things to look for, guys, for those that are just maybe getting involved and you're like, man, I don't know what I would be. How would I find motivation? How would I find this? He's already listed some key things. And really, there's 4 pillars out there that you got to keep yourself in tune with. And that is time frame. So he said they want to close in 30 days or less. So man, this is great. We already got a time frame. They want to close quick. The next one is condition. So it could be that they inherited a home. They don't have the money to fix up. Is that similar to this? Did they have money or desire to fix up the home, or just, nope, we just want to sell it as is, cash offer in 30 days, right? So he finds out there's a condition problem. So here's the cool thing. We're only talking about there's 4 pillars and 2 of them are already struck. Like time frame, they want to get done quick. Condition, they just want to sell it as is. I don't have the money to fix it up. I inherited it. We just want to get rid of it. The third one, which most times will be a deceiver, is price. And so sometimes they'll tell you a price. You're like, whoa, that's a deal. Most times they'll tell you a price. You're like, whoa, that doesn't sound like a deal. But don't allow that to distract you from going on an appointment if these other pillars exist. And then the fourth one is the driver. Driver means behind on taxes, going through divorce. On this one, inherited a stinky home and they don't want to fix it up. Those are the drivers. That's the reason behind it. So those are the 4 pillars to write down. And through your questioning, when you're calling them and talking to them on the phone, you're trying to ask questions that would help them understand timing, condition, price, and driver. So anything you want to add to that, Jerry, by the way?
Yeah. So those 4 pillars are what you really want to look at for sure. And then what's great is you mentioned, Bob, that you did a little bit of the takeaway. So one way that I like to do that as well is I'll ask this question. I'll say, well, why aren't you trying to sell this property on market, right? Why aren't you listing this property for sale? You'll probably get more money if you did that. Now, I don't always ask that question, but if I'm not sure what the driver is, Cody, you mentioned the driver. If they're not really forthcoming with that driver, then it's a legitimate question to ask. You're probably going to sell it for more if you put it out to the public. Why aren't you using that? Is that an option you're considering, or why aren't you doing that? And then that question, I find, tends to draw out some other type of thing that's going on. Like maybe, well, it needs trashed out and we don't want to do that before it can get listed, or we don't want pictures on the internet, or I don't want to pay the commissions to a real estate agent, or whatever it might be. There's usually some kind of thing there. So sometimes you got to probe a little, you got to ask those kind of follow-up questions, and it'll kind of uncover some of those reasons. But you're dead on, Cody. It's those 4 things. You want to draw that out. You want to find that. And I kind of have a philosophy. I know everybody doesn't always do this, but even if their number that they give me is retail, we call it Zillow. Like they look up what the Zestimate is, and then they give you, that's their number. I never take that at face value. I feel like people just kind of, if I'm asking them, they might throw that number out to see how I respond. But a lot of people, what they'll do is if the number's too high, they'll say, you know what, motivation isn't here. I'm not going to make the offer. I kind of look at it and think, and Cody, tell me if you do it differently, but I kind of look at it and think, I'm this far along. I'm on the phone. We're talking. We're here. Why not just put my number in front of them, even if it's significantly lower? And you may go on appointment, but I like to pre-qualify with a number and say, hey, I need to be in the range of this. How does that sound? And see then what they do. And then that tends to really get to the root of where they're really at and what they'll really do.
I like what you said. Here's where I differ maybe just a little, and I'd love your opinion on this too, Bob. Yes, I think there's a million ways to skin a cat, first and foremost. So I don't think there's any right or wrong. I think I usually will not ever give a price. If I'm going to do a price, it's like if they're playing hardball and they're not going to give a price, but there's other motivation factors there, usually we'll just go out to the appointment. But if we're still man, there's no really other pillars and they're playing hardball, they're not giving me a price. And we always hear he who gives the price first loses, right? Yeah. Well, so what I'll do is instead of me looking like the bad guy, usually I buy homes in this area for this much. Now I'm the bad guy. What I'll usually do if I need to sniff something out because I don't find any of these pillars, but I do want to see what ballpark we even playing in, I'll usually just say, because here in Utah, county assessor is so off. A home could be worth $500,000, county assessor could say $300,000. Yeah. So I'd say, okay, well, tell me this, because again, I know where your home is. I love the area. Every home is kind of unique to itself. County assessor saying about $300,000. Does that sound about right? So instead of me being putting out an offer or making me sound like a bad guy, I make the county assessor look like the bad guy. But the beautiful thing is I say a price that the county assessor says it's worth. And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm like, woo, this is sounding good now, because county assessor is always off. But it's the county assessor that looks like the bad guy, not me, by making a lowball offer.
Yeah. Now you do it different than me, Cody, in that you go on appointment and we do all phone closes.
And you're virtual, right?
Yeah.
For your virtual market. So that's why you have to. And I agree with what you said. You have to. You're on the phone, you're going to go that route. And that totally makes sense. All of our stuff is we're only in the markets that we literally are going to their appointment.
And so if you think about that, where you go on appointment versus close on the phone, I'm the first one to say that you'll close more on appointment every time than you will on the phone, right? Because there's just something about that face-to-face interaction that you can't beat. You're going to build a relationship, and hopefully you're going to land that deal. On the flip side, I think the trade-off is you can do a lot more deals because you're not spending so much time on appointments. So it's less conversion, but maybe more per acquisition manager. And again, we've just been doing that since COVID, and we're hoping that we'll have enough data to really support that. Meaning I like better on the phone versus on appointment. We'll see, but it's worth thinking about. It's worth testing and trying and see where you fit.
Bob, where are you at within the mix? Are you just right there local, and so you do the number over phone, hybrid of both, or just in person?
So what I always do is I ask a couple questions about it. So what are you hoping to get for the property? And we're like, well, you tell me, you're the expert. Okay, no problem. Do you have an idea of what houses are selling for in the neighborhood? And a lot of times they'll come back with, well, 170. Okay. Well, is that what you're expecting to get for yours? And so you can kind of work your way into getting a price without being so direct. Now, if they don't answer that, then I just, maybe the third question is, well, do you have an idea what you're hoping to walk away with? It's just a ballpark. I won't hold you to it. And if they're like, no, if they're just stonewall, then I'll kind of go to walk away from that a little bit, and I'll just bring up some other things about what kind of repairs are needed, what kind of things would need to be replaced, and I'll work my way back into it with price again. Look, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my time. I just need to try to get an idea of what you're hoping to get for it. At the end of the day, if you wanted to go the route of a real estate agent, I can help you there, because I've got, I tell them I've got agents on my team, and what I do is if it's going to be a retail home that doesn't need much repairs, I'll give it to a real estate agent, and then I'll get a finder's fee, for doing that. So that's one of the ways. I'm just looking to offer solutions to their home. If it's a wholesale opportunity, then I'm pretty tight-lipped. I won't share my price. If it's going to be closer to a retail deal, then I'll give them I'll refer to an agent. But I don't give a price unless after 4 or 5 times of asking, then I'll go the route where I'm like, well, it looks like like cash buyers are buying properties for around 120 to 130,000.
I love that. Look who he blamed. Cash buyers. He's not blaming himself. This is my offer. He says, it looks like cash buyers are buying it for 120.
Right.
I love that.
And if they get upset at that, well, you say, well, that's not me, and then that's not my offer. I'm just saying that that's typically what it's looking like in your neighborhood. So, to give them an idea, what you're doing is you're setting the anchor. You're kind of setting the expectations that they're not going to get the Zillow price for it.
Yeah.
So
another fun question. Oh, go, Jerry.
I was just going to ask you, Cody. So do you find that as long as you have the 3 time frame, motivation, and condition, if they give you a Zillow or retail, you'll still go on appointment? And is the reason behind that, if you've got those other 3 and you can sit down with that seller, you'll be able to win them over on your number? Is that your mindset around that?
That's correct, because people do business with people they trust, and people learn to trust people once they learn to love, like, and respect you. And that's that face play now. That's that face play. One thing, if you are doing it virtual, I would love for you to test this for me, Jerry, because this would be something I actually think would help conversion like crazy with your team. Is I would do it through Zoom or FaceTime, because that is something none of your competition's doing. And there's something about a presence. When you see someone, it is like, and they see your smile and they see you're like joyful and you're happy and they get to see your interaction. I can promise you conversion will go through. Now, I haven't tested it, but in my head, I'm like, I just know the power of face-to-face time, that I know your competition's not doing FaceTime or a Zoom call when they talk. And I think that would be pretty freaking powerful. And I bet you'd see conversion go through the roof. But yes, we'll book an appointment based off those 3, even if price is high, because price always changes. Everyone, it's like Bob said, that anchor, right? You've got Chris Voss teaching you this in Never Split the Difference. He says, set an anchor. And it's to, you want them. It's to, what's the word he uses? It's to, explicit. It's to make them say no. You want them to say no. That's what you're hoping for. Negotiation starts once they say no. You never want them saying yes, yes, yes. And there's this sales pitch out there that says, condition people to say yes, and then they'll say yes. And it's like, really think about that, guys. Really think about that. Do you like oranges? Yes. Do you like apples? Yes. Would you like this tasty orange? Yes. Would you like to sell me your home $80,000 less? Yes. And they're probably like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said yes. It's like, it just came out of my mouth. Guys, come on. That's not even true. And that's what salespeople are teaching you. Condition people to say yes. Chris Voss, he's like the Robert Kiyosaki, what he did in the 90s when he says, your home is not an asset. And everyone's like, ah, like what? He turned the whole world upside down. The same thing here. Chris Voss says, negotiation begins at no. You want them to say no. that's when you give them the control. That's when they feel back in control of the deal, and you want them to feel control. And then they open up. I can't do $80,000. So you're setting an anchor, but they're flying a kite. Most times they're just setting it up there. They're always going to go for the highest and best. If you were selling your home in a distressed situation, you would go for highest and best. That's everyone's tendency. So they fly the kite, you set the anchor, and then you start working it down. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, as long as those other pillars are there, you can change price.
Love it. Awesome.
Right. I got an example I'll share with you. It was one deal I did about a year ago where the guy wanted close to retail price, but he was highly motivated, and he was also calling from a tax delinquent list. So I could have just, passed it off as not something that's not going to work. I went to the appointment, realized that it was in a lot of distress, and he really didn't have any idea of what his house was worth. So I'm just, walking through it and helping them understand, the value of the home is nowhere near what you're hoping to get for it, unfortunately. So sometimes people just don't have a very good idea of what it's worth, and everybody wants Zillow price. But if the motivation's there, then I go on the appointment, and I ended up getting that under contract for about $40,000 or $50,000 less than what he was hoping for.
But here's the thing, guys. It's because we bring this different side that everyone doesn't realize. Price is only one of the factors people sell, but you got to remember, people are willing to sacrifice price for speed and convenience. And so look at it more like you go to the home and you set out. Have you guys seen one of those like silver trays or platters that sit in a table in the middle in the centerpiece? And there's like all these fine cheeses and crackers and all this stuff. If you can mentally almost think that's exactly what you're doing, you're putting together this platter with these things, and you're listening. So Jerry's talking about, hey, you know what? Like, I called you because look at my house. It's in such bad shape. I don't have money to sell it. And what you do is you start to build this beautiful platter, this centerpiece for them of here's some options, and that they're willing to sacrifice price to get this option, this tray, this platter, because it actually solves more problem than the money does. So when Jerry says that, then you say, so if I'm able to, like everyone talks about benefit, like, oh my gosh, I'm willing to buy your home and I'll buy it as is. Instead of being that guy, because that's your competition, just say, so if I was able to buy your home as is, would that be something that would help? And they're like, oh my gosh, that would help. And you start to build this platter. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I need to be able to close on the 20th. Oof, that's 11 days from now. I mean, I don't know if I can do that, but if I'm able to do that, it sounds like that would be something that would help. Oh my gosh, do you think you might be able to? I can't say yay and I can't say nay, but I know that means something to you, so I'm going to put that down. So if I'm able to close by the 20th, it sounds like that would be something that would helpful. And you write it down. You just built and added another thing to this platter. And pretty soon they look at it like, I get it. I want 350, but I also want to close on the 20th. I want to sell it as is. I don't want closing costs. I don't want there to be real estate fees. And this guy's going to put a dumpster out front so I can empty my garage. And they start to look at it and like, I get it. Yeah, I'll sell to you for $250. Why? On the phone, they wouldn't budge. If you don't come out and you're not paying $350, not a dollar less, don't even come out. But because we went out based on all these other pillars of motivation, that changed because they learned to like, love, respect me, trust me. And then they're saying, oh my gosh, this is actually what I want. I don't want the $350. I want this platter that you just provided for me, and I'll sacrifice my price to get that.
Awesome.
Yep. When making an offer, Bob, Jerry, I have an opinion. We have 3 here opinions. So this will be awesome. Preston, when making an offer while trying to wholesale, what agreement do you use on the spot to have them sign? Start it off, Bob.
The best way I did it was I reached out to one of the attorneys that was familiar with wholesaling in the Memphis area and sat down and had a conversation with him for about an hour. He shared a contract to purchase with me. It's a 3-page document, and that's what I used. That's what I use to this day.
Awesome. Jerry?
Well, I actually learned this, what I want to share here, from you, Cody, a while ago. And when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's so true. I like DocuSign, even if it's in person, which we don't do a whole lot of right now, just because it's so easy. Like if I'm standing there next to them, I'll say, here, let me send it to you right now. Pull it up on your phone. There's no paper. I don't know. I just found that people are used to that right now. It seems to go pretty well. Since we're closing on the phone, what I'll do is we'll never send the contract unless they're sitting in front of their computer or I guess smartphone and they're ready to sign. They're ready to sign. And I learned this. This was happening to me. And then when Cody taught me the strategy, I was like, duh. What'll happen is if you send them the contract ahead of time or before they're ready to sign, there's a good possibility they're going to shop your deal. They're going to shop their deal by using your contract with the other people they're talking to, right? So think about that, guys. You send them over your price for $150. They've got it now in writing. Now they blow you off and they take your contract. They send it to their other cash buyers they're talking to, and they're just bidding their house up by using your contract, your offer, right? So now we don't do that. We will only put it in front of them when they're ready to go sign. Let's see, here it is. Let's go through it right now and sign. So I think that's a really great tip. Thank you for teaching me that, Cody.
Dude, well, I think fair to say we've learned from each other. Bob continues to teach. I'm on a call with him every Tuesday and he'll share things. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much getting implemented tomorrow. Like that's good stuff right there. So I think that's fair to say that we're always learning. Here's some cool stuff that I love. Someone just shared. I think people need to find their gift. Like, what can I add to wholesaling? Not thinking about what your competition is doing, but what you can do for them. And that is so good, but so true. Guys, for our contract, we had, you can use definitely just like we call a REPC. That's probably pretty standard, that word, that language. And that's the real estate purchase contract. Usually what the real estate agents use. A lot of people use that. The only caveat is you got to be careful because every state's a little bit different. In Utah, if you do use the REPC, it's not assignable as it stands. And so you'd have to add an addendum that allows to make it that makes the contract assignable. So that's one thing. So check into that. We personally paid a real estate attorney to produce a contract for us. It's about a 5-page contract, but is specific to me as a wholesaler. I'm not a real estate agent at the moment. And so that was the route we went. Is we had this incredible real estate attorney put it together for his fee. And we've been using that now for a few years now. So a lot of different answers there, but really if you're a realtor, you might have to use the REPC. So check with your board of realtors and division of real estate. And then also for those that are not, check with the real estate attorney. That's the best advice I can give you. Real estate is defined so different in every state. And so just make sure you're doing it the way your state wants it, and then you'll be fine. All right. So keep going, Mr. Bob. Talk us through this. You see that there's motivation. He's wanting to sell it as is. He needs to get rid of time. So there's motivation there. Right. What happened from there? What from the moment you got the phone call to the moment you're at the home, how many days was in between there?
So I'll tell you, let me add one more thing to it. In that initial call, he explained that he had about 24 postcards that he was calling that day. And I can tell it was a postcard that I sent close to 6 or 8 months ago because I used a different name on my postcards. I kind of keep a rotation of names just to kind of keep things fresh. But it was a card that he held for about 6 or 8 months. And he said he had about 24 phone calls to make that day. So he called me like on a Thursday, and he told me that there was a set time for his he called it an open house. It was from 1 to 3 on a Sunday. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be part of that.
Kids, church is over here today.
Right. One thing I made a point of doing was of arriving, closer to around 2 o'clock rather than being the first one in line. It gave me a chance to assess the home, talk to the owner, not be in any hurry, and also be in a spot where I can be there towards the end of the showing, just to have an opportunity to spend some one-on-one time with the owner. So that's what I ended up doing.
Awesome.
How many
Awesome.
people were there, Bob? How many people showed up?
So 24 phone calls. There were about 12 people that showed up at the property.
12 people. Beautiful thing, guys. I love the play. Be the last person.
So there was a question asked earlier. It was about is wholesaling saturated? And I'll tell you, if I, when I was just starting out wholesaling and I got the phone call that there were 24 other people that were going to be involved with the deal, I probably wouldn't have gone. Honestly, I'm like, I'm not going to deal with that. That's a waste of my time. I'm not going to do it. Well, I've got a different mindset at this point. The way I look at it is mindset plus action equals results. And I wish I could take credit for that, but that's not me. That's it's from the book that I listen to periodically. It is the morning. What is it called? With Hal.
Yeah, Miracle Morning.
Miracle Morning. That's right, for millionaires. But in it talks about mindset plus action equals results. So I just have to have the right mindset. I just have to be positive. I think I can do it. What the heck, 24? Make it 100. I'll go there and I'm going to do the best I can. And I hope to get the deal. But if I think in my head before I leave that I'm not going to be successful, then I'm probably not going to be successful. So, it's just the way I approached it. And I thought, you know what, I got as good a shot as anybody. So I went on the appointment. I stuck around and I basically just told him, look, I said, I may not be your best option, but I'm here to help any way I can. So if you've got any questions, if someone else has got a better offer for you and you need the advice of somebody else, I'd be glad to talk to you and just help you walk through this, because this is what I do for a living and how I feed my family. And just by doing that, he's recognizing that I'm here as a resource to help him through this situation. And that also builds trust. So that's the way I approached it from the very beginning, is go there with the mindset of trying to help him solve the problem rather than trying to beat him down on the price or trying to, get whatever I could for it. That's not the mindset that I had. I was there to serve.
I love it. Jerry, this would be a good one for you to attack. What's the difference between absentee and vacant? This home happened to be absentee and vacant. And yes, they very much could be the same home, but they very much are two different things. What's the difference between the two of them?
Yeah, so absentee is a type of lead that we try to target, and all it means is the owner of the property doesn't live in that home. So they own the home, but it's not their primary residence. So a lot of times it's a rental property, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a rental. It could be, they moved out of state and they still own the home or inherited or whatever. It just means that the owner doesn't live there. We can take it a step further and we can have out-of-state absentee owner, which means the owner of record lives out of state from the property. That kind of increases motivation because now it's even harder for that owner to take care of, hypothetically. And then vacant then means that no one's living in it. That's all vacant means. No one's living in the home. So it's not occupied by the owner or a renter or a tenant, right? And again, that tends to be a level of motivation, because if someone owns a home that's vacant, then they're having to pay property taxes, maintenance, insurance, upkeep, all these things. So it's a cost now. I call it bleeding. They're bleeding on the property, which tends to increase motivation to sell. So these are just factors that we're identifying as a potential motivation. Now, there could be no motivation at all, but it's an indicator that there could possibly be motivation there. So we don't know until you get in front of them, right? You talk to them, you go through the 4 pillars Cody talked about, and you find out, hey, is this a motivated seller? What's going on? What can I uncover? And then present an offer, right? Or get in front of them in some way and see if you can put a deal together.
Love it. Guys, here's a good one. Hey, Jerry, I live in Phoenix, and I'm wondering if I should do my first wholesale virtual out of state.
Well, so certainly doing a deal in your backyard is always easier than virtual. Virtual is challenging, and anybody who's done both can attest to that. Cody, I know you tell a story where you went virtual and got your butt handed to you, and you're like, man, that's tougher than it looks. In wholesaling, I find, talking to a lot of people, there's this grass is greener mindset with a lot of wholesalers, especially new wholesalers or aspiring wholesalers. Everybody thinks it's going to be easier somewhere else than in your own market. And I think there's maybe some cases where that's probably true, but most of the time, wherever you think it's better, it's competitive there too, right? So, what is it that's driving you to do it virtually? The reason why I do it virtually isn't because I think it's better or easier or whatever. It's just because in some of those markets, I've done deals there before. I understand the market. I've got a good handle on it. And so I can do it. It's mostly that more than it is, hey, where I live is no good. Yeah. Right. So in Phoenix is the #1 flipping capital of the US. There are more flippers in Phoenix than anywhere else in the US. But that doesn't mean you can't carve out a piece of the pie and be extremely successful. It's a very transient market. It's a melting pot. Everyone's coming to Phoenix from California, from East Coast. It has tremendous growth. It always will. There's always going to be demand, which means you can be successful. But there's also major players in Phoenix that you're going to compete with that are going to outspend you on marketing and everything else, 1,000% over. It's just, what are you willing to do? And are you willing to go through a learning curve virtual? And the biggest learning curve is just learning that new market, the ins and outs, where the transitions are, where neighborhoods change, getting your team on the ground and being able to do all of that without you being there. So I'm a big fan of it. I think you can learn how to do it and do it well. But I'm not going to lie to you and say, it's way easier to do deals in your backyard than virtually.
100% agree with you. Bob, this will come through where I want you to go. So you talk to this guy, you're last there, you're sitting down with them at this open house from 1 to 3. There's 12 people excited about this. You say, can I be the last one? And you're talking to them. Let's walk through the process. And I think just by walking through naturally what happened next will answer this question for us. And the question that we have, what you're going to be solving is, do we have to purchase the home? That's where I'm kind of confused. So let's talk about it. What did you do to get the home under contract? And then what did you do following that? What did you do with it?
Right. So I left the conversation, at that meetup there. I just said, look, I'm really interested in the home. I'd be glad to work with you. I would just ask one thing. If I could be last in line, I would, I'd really appreciate that. And if I can't beat your highest offer, then I think you've got a really good offer in place. But just give me the opportunity to be the last. And so we did. So I didn't make an offer there. And then
I call that the pre-contract, Bob. I love what you just did. I had to stop you for just 2 seconds. I call this the pre-contract, meaning you're already putting together an agreement without any paper or without any signature. You're already putting together what I call the pre-agreement, the pre-contract. And that is getting a commitment just verbally. We're already starting to put together an agreement right now. Like, will you give me the last shot? Will you let me have a shot at it? I'm going to sit around. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here last. Will you give me a shot at it? And verbally, they're going to say yes. This is crucial, guys. It's commitments. How do you get them to commit so that you don't have to play the games with all the 12 people? Just be the last one. And I love what you did. You verbally put an agreement together without any paper, without any signatures, just friend to friend, human to human. Will you give me last shot? Yeah, Bob, I will. Awesome.
You can't lead with that, right? If I went to him and I said, hey, give me your last shot at it, that would have been failure. So I got to that point because I built rapport with the guy. I was there offering him help. In fact, I give him different options of what he could do with the property, right? You could always just rent it. Why don't you consider this? Like Jerry said, why don't you consider selling it retail? And I offer, I'm like, hey, if you wanted to fix it up, I've got some contractors' phone numbers I'd be glad to share with you. So I'm just there offering solutions. And also I'm going through the process of having him eliminate the different options that you have in selling your home, right? So you know what? This would make you'd make a lot more money selling it through an agent. Have you even considered that? And well, no, we don't want to do it. So by asking him that, what he's doing is that's eliminating that option in his mind. I usually go that route. I'll also go the route of, have you considered renting it? You know, I think you'd make pretty good money in this neighborhood renting it. Have you even thought of that? Well, no, I don't want to do that because of this, this, and this. And so what that does is it's eliminated that option. And so the third option, I'll usually, I mean, I'm not going to tell them. I'm just like, well, what other options have you considered? You know? And
yeah. So, oh, go ahead, Bob. Finish what you were going to say.
I was just saying, if they don't have another solution, then what I do is then I'll start to provide the idea of, getting an understanding of what they need, right? So just listening more than speaking. What are you really trying to get with this? What are your goals? When do you want to, sell it by? So I get a good understanding of what they need. And then what I try to do is not necessarily say, hey, I'm the guy that closes in 30 days, all cash as is, because everybody's that way. And, I use the approach that I learned from, Cody's deal closing mastery is, what if I can make you that all cash offer? Would that even work for you or not? Would that even be interesting to you or not? What if I could close in that timeline that you're talking about, and get this closed within the next 30 days? Would that be of any interest to you? And I just work my way through that.
Making an offer without making an offer. What if? You're not saying, hey, I can buy this home as is. It's, what if I was able to buy this as is? Would it help?
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. So what I love about that, Bob, what you did there was you really understand the psychology of a seller. And I want everybody to think about this. When he invites all these people over for this open house, this is obviously a smart seller. He's reached out to, everybody in the neighborhood or everyone in the market that's investors that he could contact. But there's a guard up, right? There's a wall up with that seller. He knows all those people are coming and they're all going to try to lowball, and, it's all about price. And so there's this big wall up. You're an investor and you're here to take my house away from me. That's the mindset that a seller has initially. And if you can do a good job of tearing down that wall, which is building trust. So what Bob do? Bob said, look, it doesn't matter to me which way you go. How can I help you? Here's some ideas on how you don't sell it and you can make money. Or have you thought about retail? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? I can give you a referral. In fact, I know I do this all the time. I know some contractors that could come in here and fix this up for you. Why don't you do that? And all of a sudden now they stop looking at you as someone that's trying to steal their house, and they look at you as someone who's trying to provide solutions. And when that wall comes down, the trust happens and you create that connection. And then think about what Bob did, guys. He knows that this guy is going to get offers from everybody. He sees the competition. He was transparent. He said, I talked to 24 people. I'm inviting them all over. Bob's standing there looking at these other cash buyers. So now it's going to be about the numbers coming in. So what does Bob do? He says, hey, I built a relationship with you. I've spent time connecting with you, trying to provide solutions, trying to solve problems. Then, not before, but then he says, can I be your last shot? Can I have the shot at this deal? And then he says, yes, you get the last option. You basically now beat out everybody else. You've eliminated your competition because he wants you to get the deal, right? As long as the number works, he wants you to get the deal because he likes you more than everybody else. Why? Because you spent the time to help provide solutions and help him feel comfortable with you as the winner or the choice on the deal. Awesome. Right. I mean, that's one of my favorite strategies is to build relationship and then ask, hey, can I have last shot at this deal? That's awesome.
The beautiful thing, Bob and Jerry, on that is you're when you come in from the relationship standpoint, and it's no longer about money and it's all about this listening and finding out what they want and what are their needs. The beautiful thing is you start to turn them to be on your side. And they're like, how do I do business with Bob? Like, I get it. There's offers over here, but I want to do business with Bob. And that's why, again, it comes down to, he'll share you right now if he had to match their price or top it, or if he got it under. But the whole point is it's no longer about price. Now you're getting them to be like, gosh, I hope Bob is really around somewhere, at least somewhere close. Instead of them saying, if Bob just beats it, I want to go with Bob. Now they're thinking, I just hope he's close within the ballpark of where I've been offered because I want to do business with this guy. That's what you want your sellers to do. And that's what Bob's creating. So Bob, let's get to that point and then it will answer this question. And then we'll kind of just spend the rest of the time just rapid fire on some of these questions so we can get to them. So ultimately, what did you get the home? What were the offers? What did you get the home under contract for?
So we had 2 rounds of offers that we had to compete against. I wasn't even in the competition for the first round. He sent me the email that he sent everybody else. And then at the bottom, he had a little disclaimer. Hey, Bob, this is what I sent to all the other, people that are making offers. And so the first round was at 165 was the highest price. So he went back to only the serious offers and said, who's interested in offering above 165? And then
this guy's a shark.
Yeah, exactly. So there was another round, 3 or 4 more offers came through, and then he contacted me and said, by the way, this is where I'm at. These are where the offers are. And he said, I told you from the very beginning that I would be willing to give you the last shot at it. And he said it was at 174. And I said, I tell you what, if I could get to 176, would you be willing to work with me today? Get it under contract today? And he said, absolutely. So,
and 176 was a deal, obviously at 176.
Yeah. I mean, I could have gone up a couple $1,000 based on the numbers. It was still below my maximum allowable offer.
Okay.
So
here's the only thing I would have challenged, because you know me, I love challenges. I would have said, so if you're telling me, because it sounds like you wanted to give me the last, and with just trying to help you figure this out and put together all those things you need, I always just try to either get it or beat it, right? I'm like, so if you're saying if I just come up to that 174, that we'd be able to work together. It seems like we got a good little relationship going on. Oh yeah, I would. And I bet you he would have, actually, to be honest. Everyone loves Bob. Everyone loves Bob. I love Bob. And so that's my only challenge I give you is I bet you didn't have to give him the 2,000 above. I bet you got it for even or even less. That's my only challenge I always throw out of love. You know me and you. We're good friends. So I love throwing out a little bit of a challenge every now and again. Okay, so you get at 176. Ultimately, what did you do to answer this question? Did you have to close on the home? What was your way of making a profit on this?
So the contract that I have basically says that I'm going to be purchasing it or I have the rights to assign it, right? So it's an assignable contract. And I explained to them that I've got 3 different exit strategies that I'm going to consider. One is that I may be purchasing the property outright. The other option that I might consider is that I may work with lending partners, and we will basically purchase the property together. We'll rehab it together, and we'll split the purchase price or the sale price. And then the third option that I tell them is that sometimes I work with partners and they're interested in just taking over the ownership of the property. And so they would just basically pay me a finder's fee for it. But it has nothing to do, or it has no impact on you or the closing or the purchase price or anything like that. So I just lay it out. Those are the options that I have. And I explain it to them that these are the 3 things that I'm considering. I've got lending partners that I work with and that are going to need to take a look at the property. And then, based on that inspection, then we're going to move to close, and that's really it. So I don't purchase it. I get it under contract, and then I reach out to my cash buyers or lending partners, see who's interested in it. I mark it up a little bit, of course, for an assignment, and then we have the inspection. I find someone who's making the best offer. I have them sign an assignment contract for the difference between what I purchased it for and what they're willing to pay for it. And then at closing, they pay for the purchase price plus my assignment at closing. It's simple as that.
So you don't have any money in the bank that you have to pull out and close on this deal?
I put $100 down for earnest money on my contracts, and that's it.
That's awesome. So guys, that's it. It's just the assignment. You just make the difference. You're basically the middleman that brings the seller and the cash buyer together, and the cash buyer brings all the funds, and you get paid over and above what you put under contract for your assignment or your finder's fee. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. There was one in here. Do you even face this often, Jerry? Because I actually don't. We don't face this ever. We're never asked this, by the way, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah, this is probably one of my followers because I do a lot of on-market deals and on-market.
Okay.
Yeah, so on-market agents are going to ask for proof of funds and earnest money deposits. And so, yeah, that's definitely something you'll face if you go on-market. Off-market, no. Sellers don't ask for proof of funds. I don't think that's ever come up once on any of my off-market deals. But Debbie, if you're asking that, I'm imagining you're referring to on-market. But really, I want to touch on something Bob said. I have a lot of people who say, well, Jerry, how can I say I'm a cash buyer to the seller if I'm not actually the cash buyer? And it's all about how you frame it. It's all about how you position yourself in the transaction. And I hope you guys caught what Bob said. He talked about lending partners. He talked about, I may pass it off to them and they take the deal. We may do some kind of equity thing. Really what he's saying is I'm going to wholesale this deal to a cash buyer, but he's saying it in a way that makes sense to a seller that's not going to freak them out or worry them. Right now, it's your contract. Once you have it, you don't have to tell the seller anything. You have equitable interest in the property. You can do whatever you want. You could tell the seller, I'm going to mark it up for 20 grand and there's nothing you can do. I mean, right? You could, but what you want to do is you want to make that seller feel really comfortable, and you want to position that seller to where you can get your cash buyers into the property. So I like to use the word investors and partners. I'll say, look, I'm going to need to get my investors, my partners, our contractors. We're going to need to come back over to the property. Can I have access? If they're living there, we'll say, we'll give you 24-hour notice. If it's vacant, I'll put in my contract, I'll put seller to give buyer access to property via a contractor lockbox. And it's right in my contract. I can go in the property, and that just allows you to then, wholesale your deal without any issues with that seller. But think about it. Your buyer, in essence, is your partner, right? He's your partner. He's going to take it to the finish line. Your job in the partnership is to bring the good deal, right? You're the acquisitions partner. They're the exit partner. But that cash buyer is your partner. So when you refer to them that way, it makes it really easy with your sellers to understand what's going on.
Right.
This satisfies something further, Jerry, that you just brought up a great point, both you, Bob and Jerry. This satisfies a further problem. I saw a question over here. I was trying to find it while they were talking. And it said, what happens when you find a deal, you send your cash buyers over to look at it, and then they go around and tell the seller, hey, they're trying to sell the deal and mark it up, and I just want to let you know about it. I'd love to be your new buyer. First and foremost, let me tell you this. If you're up front, like Bob just was, either I'm going to buy it or one of my partners, doing that, you're already letting them know so that if something like this happens, first and foremost, you should be having crucial conversations with every one of your cash buyers before you just pull anyone and just add them to your list and let them know the process. This is my process. Can you follow that? Awesome. You're getting that verbal agreement, right? And you're saying, follow this process. This is the process. We don't talk to the seller when I'm there. Now, the second thing is, it's never said, just go to the property. Someone, either yourself or someone from your team, should always be on that inspection period, that inspection time where the buyers are at the home. You should never allow them to go there. And it should be very simple, guys. Team huddle, get over here on the lawn. I want you to remind you guys, we don't talk to the seller, and we're going to stay together. We're not just going to walk wherever you want to walk. Wherever I am, that's where you go. That's what we're doing here. Does everyone understand this? I almost feel like Tony Robbins. Say I, right? That's what you're getting from them. You're getting a commitment from these guys. And then if someone is crazy enough on your cash buyers list to try and go around your back, blacklist them, take them off your list. You'll find out who it is, and then let every other wholesaler know about the shyster so that he gets blacklisted from everyone. And then second of all, when your seller comes back and says, hey, this guy came in and says what you're doing, and be like, yeah, remember we talked about that. It's either going to be me or it's going to be some of my partners that I'll partner on this. And so, yeah, these are individuals. These are those individuals. But we're almost done here. We're just getting ready, and just walk as matter of fact. But if you try to justify it and add more, like Jerry was saying, he's like, where you try to add more and we try to add more and we start justify it, then everyone's like, whoa, red flag. This is weird. What's going on? just as a matter of fact, yeah, these are those partners I was talking about. We're almost done here. It looks like they're going through and looking through it, and we'll have all the final decisions and everything going. But we plan on closing just like we said on the 20th and have that money in your bank, and we're excited to work with you. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. But never let your cash buyers go out and just look at a property. You better be there, or someone on your team better be there for that very reason.
Right. And Cody, let me add too, really, you just have to speak with confidence to your sellers. Just be confident about it. This is what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. Be as transparent as you can. And then also what I do, you mentioned a point about having a potential buyer approach the sellers about working around you. I set the expectations with the sellers saying, this is what I'm going to do with the inspections coming up. And I'll tell you, sometimes some of these people may come back to you and talk to you about, making you an offer that's, better than mine, or try to convince you to work with them rather than me. And I'll just tell them, look, we're contractually obligated, and really they can't do that. It's called contractual interference. And I'm just telling you that, that's not something that you should be doing or could, be doing. That'll actually get you in trouble, or it'll cause problems. So just be aware of that. If anybody does approach you, let me know about it and I'll handle it from there. And I've gotten phone calls from sellers that have said, hey, I got a call from this guy and this is his number. And, I just handled the way Cody said. I'll call him and I'm like, look, don't do that. That's not right. And so I set the expectations with the sellers that this is a possibility that this may happen. And if it does, this is what you need to do about it.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Bob, go for it, Jerry.
I was just going to say one more quick tip. We try our hardest to make sure that seller's not there during that inspection with your cash buyers, right? So we'll do is we'll give the seller $100 to leave for a couple hours.
Write this down, guys. Write this down. This is so gold. Go for it again.
We'll give them a $100 gift card, and we'll say, hey, from between 1 and 3, I need access to the property with my partners, investors, contractors. There's going to be a bunch of us over there. I already have it in my agreement that we can come see the property, right? When I sign the contract. Well, now's the time. We want to come on, Wednesday from 1 to 3. And by the way, just for your inconvenience, I'm going to send you a $100 gift card to go shopping for the afternoon while we're there. Get them out of the house. That really just makes that whole worry go away.
But if you're buying a home from Jerry with a family of 12, you're going to have to send 400.
Yeah, that's right. Go to the trampoline park.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Jerry, here's a good question. Wait. Before we ask this, let's do this. So Bob, ultimately put under contract 176, and you might have said this, but I could have been doing that, reading the stuff over here. So I hope I didn't miss it. But ultimately, what were you able to sign it for? How much money did you make on this deal?
Well, I haven't assigned it yet. I've got offers, and this is one of the things that I don't do anymore is I'm not in any hurry to accept offers. So, I want to be in a rush to get under contract, but I slow my roll when it comes to assigning it. Of course I don't waste time, but I'm not in any hurry to accept an offer, because usually what happens is a day or two later, a better offer comes in.
Always.
So, yeah, I'm somewhere around a $10,000 assignment at this point. I think that's probably where it'll end up, but that's where we'll go. So
I love it. So potential already at 10K, and it could go higher. The victory bell. Let's ring it for Mr. Bob Antoni.
And you know what's cool? It's not the best wholesale you'll ever do, but 10K is awesome. And you had to compete with 24 people he called, 12 people that showed up. You won the deal, assigned it for another 10. That is what to me, it's not the 10K that's cool. It's you took a deal where clearly 12 people he talked to on the phone didn't even show up. They're like, oh my gosh, he talked to 24 people. I'm not going. What a waste of time. 12 showed up and you beat all 12 of them and made 10 grand. Dude, that's sick. Awesome, Bob. That's cool. That's cool.
So 10 grand, guys. And I want you to ask yourself, those watching, what would 10 grand do for you? I want you to think about that. Many people get into this doing it part-time. So just think about it, just one deal. Don't think about turning it into a business already like Bob or Jerry or myself. Just think about one deal. What would one deal do if you worked full time and you could make an additional 10 grand this year? What would it do for you? What would it do for your lifestyle? What would it do for your family? Now think about if you could do one deal every single month. What would that do for you? If the average assignment in the nation is about 10K, what does that do for you? 120 grand. Here's what I will tell you guys. It's not hard to do one deal a month. It's just not. Once you do one deal and you see it go from faith to fact, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just did this, and you pinch yourself and you're like, yes, I am alive. This is real. This is good. And it's in your bank account. And you're like, holy smokes, this is amazing. At some point, you get that amazing opportunity, which is the second biggest reason when I hear from students or anyone, why are you getting into wholesaling? Number one reason, make more money. That's okay. You're going to do that. The second reason is more time with my family. And I will tell you guys, that is the biggest reward ever. And the third that's close to number two is quit corporate America. There will be a time in your life where you'll be able to say, W-2 is holding me back. I could be doing more deals and have more time with my family. See you later, W-2. And that is what I would call the American dream. Like in control of income, in control of where you spend your time and who you spend it with would be my version of success and lifestyle and just the American dream. What is it for you? And it's very real. You can do that. So I love everything we've talked about today. We're going to go rapid fire now. So I'm going to pull up every question I have. Jerry, Bob, if you saw some sideline ones that you're like, man, I love that question, just voice it and we'll start going. We'll start going on this. So Jerry, this is one for you. I live in California and property is so expensive out here. So would you recommend wholesaling out of here? Or like would you recommend wholesaling in California or should he go somewhere else?
Yeah. So the question is virtual. A lot of California people think I got to go virtual because the price points are so high. But remember, wholesaling, you don't actually need capital, right? You're not funding the deal. So if you get a contract for 800,000, you might be thinking, man, I got to go somewhere else where property's cheaper. No, you're going to assign that contract to somebody else who's going to fund it with the cash. And what I love about California is that $800,000 contract. Let's say that property is worth 1.3 or whatever it's worth. You find your cash buyer, you can have a $50,000 assignment, and that's not unheard of. It's not odd. That's your number, right? So
I feel like that's your average. In fact, that could be low.
That could be low. You could be wholesaling for $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 in California. So don't let the price, the number, intimidate you. Whether it's a $10,000 to a $20,000 assignment or an $800,000 to a $900,000, the mechanics are the same. A deal is a deal. It's all about just the structure: a contract, an assignment, a motivated seller, a cash buyer. That's it. There are cash buyers in California, just like there are in Metro Detroit or wherever, Indianapolis. It doesn't matter. What we do is the same, regardless of price point or where we're at. So
love it.
Let me add one other thing is I would recommend don't let your don't have a limiting belief or limiting mindset dictate what decision you're going to make or which direction you're going to go in wholesaling. Eliminate the limiting mindset and just go for it. Just take that action and believe that you can be successful. And you can do it anywhere.
Yeah. Henry Ford, whether you believe you can or can't, you're right. It's a mindset. Most people, if they tell me, man, I just can't do deals here, I'll ask them. I'll just say, so where do you think you can do deals? Oh, man, I know I could do deals in Tampa, Florida. I'm like, dude, I think you should open up in Tampa, Florida. And sure enough, they do deals. Is it because there's more deals in Tampa, Florida? No, it's because they believe Tampa, Florida is going to be the bomb.com. And so they treat it with respect like they should have, and their mindset's positive about it. But with their broken mindset around their own territory, that's why they don't do deals. It's not that deals don't exist. It's because they're already telling themselves when they pick up the phone, this is a waste of my time because there's no deals here. Guys, just fix your mindset around it. Deals are everywhere. Here's a good one. Bob, what's the best list in your opinion to pull?
So I think that the best list, I always just try to approach some type of distress. Tax delinquent's great. Absentee owner, it's usually got some motivation there. Code violations, great. Divorce list, great. Vacant list, great. Really, I think when it comes down to it, you just want to try to find somebody that's going to be motivated to sell the house. So you can be successful in any one of those lists. If I was starting out brand new, I would probably focus on tax delinquent lists because that usually involves multiple factors of distress in some form.
Love it. Love it. I like the PEND, PEND, and that's an acronym for probate, eviction, notice of default, divorce. Probate, eviction, notice of default, divorce. I love those lists because those are lists that you can get daily in both markets that I'm in. I'm in Dallas and in all of Utah. Those are daily lists. So anything you can get daily are very, very hot. We love using cold callers, right? Fresh, like, hey, you interested in selling the home on 123 Main Street? And you're catching them at a high on an eviction. Like a tired landlord, that eviction. Yeah, I just found out they smoked meth in it. Make me an offer. I'm like, woo, let's go. Everyone's like, I'm afraid of meth. I'm like, meth smells like money. Let's go. Meth smells like a discount, guys. So I will tell you those four: PEND, probate, eviction, notice of default, divorce. Phenomenal list because they're daily lists. So you're usually the first one on them. Most people wait on lists and they're finding lists that have been on the list and been hit up 50 times. I love the fresh daily lists. Jerry?
Yeah, awesome. I could throw something in there. It's, people are going to have their preferences like Cody. I've got some preferences that I really like, but I'm never overly locked into any one type of list because we track everything, right? And we're always testing new lists. I think kind of, it could vary in your market. It could vary over time. Like one method might be working really well, and then maybe, it stops working so well. So really what you want to do is whatever list you pull, kind of like what Bob said, all of these on here right now are awesome. Vacant, pre-foreclosure, absentee, those are all great. But you want to test and track and see how it's doing for you. What we do is we're always testing different lists, and then we're allocating our funds to the ones that are performing better than others. Cody mentioned a couple that are kind of just steady, staple lists. Why? Because he's pulling them daily, so he's hitting them up ideally before anybody else. But the real thing is whatever list you're doing in your market, you want to track that. You want to see what your results are, and over time, you want to be testing new lists because you could find another list that's performing a little better or way better, or the list that you thought was good maybe isn't as good as some of these other lists. And so it's just kind of always a work in progress. Any type of marketing, you have to constantly test and track to know if you're really allocating the funds in the right place.
Right.
Here's the best part.
Sorry, is be consistent with it, right? Whatever you do is pick it, be consistent. Every week I send out marketing. The other thing that I do is I do it, the same list. I'll send them a postcard 3 times in 6 months. And
Uncle Cody gets to see the baby. Sorry, Bob. This baby gets more precedence than what you're sharing right now. Look at this cute thing.
Sorry, Bob, I was stealing your thunder there while you're talking.
I tell you what, it's worth it.
Oh my goodness. I love it.
Look at that.
I get to live vicariously through Jerry because 4 no more for this guy over here. But this bomb.com had 10. And so Cody's going to come visit here in a few weeks. And I promise you, I will be the greatest uncle she'll ever have.
Oh, yeah. So, Uncle Cody, huh? Say hi to YouTube.
That's awesome. Sorry, Bob. Now we'll give you time.
All right. No, I was just saying, marketing, don't send it out once and think that's it. You need to send it out. I send the same list out 3 times in a 6-month period, and then I'll refresh my list. But I'll get calls from the people who receive postcards from me after the 4th or 5th time. So you just have to be consistent.
Love it. Can you double close with the end buyer's money? In Utah, you cannot. So this is going to be relevant to your state. So just find out with your state. Memphis, Tennessee, can you double close? Can you use the end buyer's money to close on? Sorry. If you're going to have to close on the property, can you fund it with the end buyer? For us, no. It physically has to be either borrowed money from me or my own money in Utah. And I believe that's the same in Arizona. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it is.
But
in
there
Arizona.
are some states that allow like a pass-through where they allow the end buyer to fund the first transaction. And that's just depends on what state you're in. Tennessee, what is it?
You cannot.
And it's title company specific too. Some title companies are comfortable doing them, or once you create a relationship, they will. Others just won't do them because it's a little confusing for them, or they prefer not to. So I found that in some of my markets, once I've established a relationship with title, some of them are open to do it. And I think it comes down to an insurance thing. Are they okay to insure it? Are they okay to close it that way? So just because the title company says, no, we don't do that, make sure you check if you can, and then make sure you find a title company that's okay to do those. And then you might be able to do some of that.
Here's one. What's transactional funding? Guys, that is just the funding that you'll use to hurry and close on it and turn around. So there's hard cash. That's usually a loan lent out for 30, 60, 90 days. And then there is transactional funding, meaning you're just closing on it for a small period of time. And then you're going to quickly resell it to a cash buyer. So maybe it's a 24-hour, 48-hour turnaround. That's what transactional funding is. Very, very simple. Let's see if there's one I can see. Have you guys seen any questions that I'm missing?
No.
Guys, what are some good terms to accept from a hard? Okay, what about this, Jerry? Bob, if you've done this too. Guys, what are some good terms to accept from hard money lenders for a first-time flipper? That's going to vary in every state. Like literally, I've heard stuff on East Coast that it's like 15 and 3 points. And if you did that in Utah, you wouldn't have a job. Standard is 12 and 2. So 12% and 2 points. We get our money because we look for it internally from family and friends, anywhere from 8 to 10%, no points. Jerry,
yeah,
Bob?
I would agree with most of that. One thing I'll add to that is a lot of these nationwide hard money lenders, if you can show that you've done 5 flips, I think in a 2-year period, then they'll bump your loan to capital, the amount of money they'll lend you in the deal, from 80% to like 90%. Some are even going a little bit higher. I've got one lender that, for me, lending home, they're nationwide. They'll do 90% on the purchase and 100% on the rehab. But I had to show them that I've done 5 deals in the past 2 years to qualify for that. Mm-hmm. And they got my rate down to like 9% and 1 point, or it might've been 2 points. So there's some, it's pretty competitive, but generally speaking, 12 and 2 is pretty average. If you're paying more than that, I would keep shopping because I think you can get better than that. And if it's your first deal, you have no history, you can still get 80% loan to capital. So if you take purchase plus rehab, hard money will give you 80% of that, which is awesome. I mean, that's great. That means you can come up with, what I do is I'll go hard money on 80 to 90%, and then private money on the difference of that 10 to 20%. So I'm all in 100% on the deal.
Bob, terms, what do you get?
One thing I would do is I haven't used any hard money at this point. What I would probably do is I would find another flipper that's a step ahead of me, that's doing 5 or 10 deals a year. Take him out to lunch, ask him what he does for terms. It's all about collaboration. So I'd find out what it is in that market.
Love it. Mm-hmm. Here's a good one. Can I wholesale to an end homeowner buyer? If so, how should I go about it? Ooh. Yes, you can. Here's my favorite.
Cody, only for 100,000, right? Yeah. Only for 100,000.
This is right. Homeowner, you normally don't want to wholesale. That could slow it down. That's usually going to be a 45-day minimum transaction for them to put under contract, and that could ruin a lot of deals, if not sour every deal. So what you're going to do is just close on it. So you'll close on it with either transactional funding or hard cash loan. Most likely it's going to be a hard cash loan because it's a little bit longer term than 24 hours, 48 hours. You're going to do something where you're borrowing it at these 12 and 2 if you can get it. But at the end of the day, the caveat, so you're going to have to close on it so that you can then return and sell it to someone else. But here's the caveat. If you buy it and your end buyer is an FHA home buyer, first-time home buyer, that home has to be seasoned in your name now for 90 days and cannot go under contract until day 91. Meaning, if you sell to an FHA home buyer, you're going to have to hold on to that property for 90 days before they can put under contract. So then plus another 30 days past that, 45 days before they can close. So just make sure that that's part of your understanding so that if you do put under contract, The other thing is just get really good at converting people from an FHA to a conventional loan, and then you can bypass that problem. And rates are just as good on a conventional loan in most cases. And you can sell them saying, hey, and the market's so hot that you can say, I've got 10 offers. I love your offer. I don't love that it's FHA. If you want to switch to conventional, I'll go with your offer. And you'll see that they're like, we want this deal because there's no deals, and every deal out there, we have to put in 10 offers. So yes, we'll switch to conventional. So you'll see 'tis the season to make that the easiest transition ever to switch them to a conventional. So close on it, and 45 days later, you've got a buyer.
Yeah, in fact, Bob, this is something that I would encourage you to really think about doing when you mentioned not really getting into funding yet. Like if you take your deal that you got for, what was it, 175? Is that what it was, 176?
Right.
That your wholesale for 10. If you could secure some financing, reasonable financing, and take it, I call it take it down, which what Cody said, buy it, take title to it. You may put that thing up for 225 or something and get a retail buyer for it and make 2-3 times your 10,000 assignment. Even after paying commissions, closing fees, and financing, you still might make 2 or 3 times as much than just an assignment. And I'm finding that on a lot of my deals.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, it's a goal of mine to start doing that. One of the things that I've been limiting on is I didn't want to try to put too many irons in the fire. So I've really been focusing on wholesaling, improving my processes to the point now where I've actually got the funds available to make the purchases myself. Of course, it's always good to leverage someone else's money in the purchase, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a good question, Mr. Jerry. Would you consider getting a mentor for my first deal, or just going for it myself? I do have Flipster Prime, so that's a big head start.
Yeah, that is. So great question, Ryan. And, this answer is going to vary from person to person. But really, to me, it's, how quickly do you want to get this thing off the ground? Are you really looking at this like a side hustle or a real business? What a mentor is going to do is if you do it right, it's going to shortcut your success. So it's going to cut the learning curve way down. You can figure this stuff out on your own, but let me ask you a question. Do you want to figure it out in a year, or do you want to figure it out in a month? I'm just using those numbers, but what a mentor is going to do is it's going to help you get out of your way. It's going to help you see what you can't see. It's going to show you what not to do, not just what to do. And if it's a good mentor, it's going to, whatever that cost you, it's probably going to 10x if it's a good mentor. That's my goal, is whatever I spend in mentorship, I want to see 10 times what I spend in results in the first year. And most of the time I can quantify that. And so it's a no-brainer for me. It's an easy investment in mentorship, not just in real estate. I have mentors I pay for in business, in marketing, in my wife and I we have a coach for marriage to improve our marriage, parenting, health and fitness. I want to find any area of my life that I'm trying to do better in, find someone who's at a level I'm not at yet, or has things that I don't know, and pay for them to teach me what they know and hold me accountable, because I know my success will skyrocket than if I just go at it alone. That's my take on it.
I love it. Bob.
Yeah, mentoring is a start. I mean, it's one of those things that you just don't do at one time and figure it out from there. You just need to continue to mentor. I went to Cody's scale event here. It was about a year ago. Well, a little over a year ago now, and it was a fantastic course. I was already on my feet, where I was already doing deals, but by paying for mentors, you excel your rate, right? You improve in your abilities, your skill sets, and you achieve your goals that much quicker. So starting off with a mentor, I think, is the right decision to make, and use mentors all the way through. It's not a once and done thing. You're going to always need them to continue to grow.
Jerry, I saw this question probably 5 times on the sideline, this in a similar format. And I was doing some sideline chat with a guy on my team to see if he could put something together quick. If you don't mind, I'll put this up. Guys, if you ever need help on wholesaling, I mean, seriously, I can't tell you how much we love doing this, first and foremost. That's the big thing, is finding and selecting the right mentor. Find someone that you gel with. Find someone that you connect with morally, with their standards, with their character. Those are the key things I looked for when I was looking for a mentor. And I always want to make sure people know of options. And I'm not saying I'm the only option, Jerry's the only option, but we would be crazy not to at least let you know that there is an option. And so I'll put down this link down here. If anyone needs help, we're going to do something special for you guys. Just because, again, this is our passion. If you go to that link down below, goref.com/live, this is something that if you also, Jerry, I did something special for you, my friend, is I made a promo code called Jerry. Guys, if you use a promo code right now, every coaching platform from wholesaling course, cold calling course, driving for dollars course, and trainings, it's $297 a month. It is so easy to get into great mentorship, and we've made it very, very affordable for everyone that we love and want to take care of. And then over and above that, if you type in Jerry for the promo code, you'll get $100 off for your first month as well. So we just want to let you know of that option. It may not be the option for you, and that's okay, but we're crazy to not at least let you know of an option out there. So if you're really considering a mentor, you don't have to spend $100,000. I want you guys to know that. Sometimes it's just getting that instruction. But I love what Jerry said. It's just cutting that curveball. It's why we joke about this. Me and Jerry was talking about this a lot. We say time kills all deals. Let me tell you what time also kills: new investors. Time kills new investors like crazy, and I feel bad about that. That's the one thing I hate to see happen, because so many times they question themselves. And Jerry, maybe you've seen this a lot, even with own students that you've seen, or people that ended up not getting or trying to do it on their own, is I see people say like, well, God maybe doesn't have it in my cards to be successful, or God doesn't want me to be in this field because I haven't done a deal in 12 months. And guys, I just don't believe that. I just don't. I believe anyone should and could and can. And I actually believe on a very spiritual level, God wants all of us to be successful. And time kills that. If you have a long time where you go 12 months without doing a deal, that will kill even the most successful mindset people. That's hard. So what a mentor does is just cut that learning curve. It gets you to the deal quickly. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that that is an option, and we'll take care of you. We'll make sure that you are getting the right instruction to be able to do what you need to do, so you can go out there and get a deal super quick. That's the goal.
Love it. That's awesome.
Let's see if did you see anything else that we're missing? Maybe a couple. Bob, do you use VAs?
I've got one VA. He does most of my admin stuff, and I'm just throwing everything I can at him at this point. I'm looking to hire a elite manager here in the very near future.
Awesome. Awesome. Here's one. Thank you, guys. I love you guys. Lewis, we love you too. That link down below, that's exactly what that is. $297 a month. Yes. And then again, type in Jerry. That's the key word right there. That gets you $100 off the first month. Jerry, I'm trying to flip through these. Jerry's a flipping genius. Yes, he is. I 100% agree with you. How can I get over the fear of cold calling? So we're going to go as rapid as we can. So I'm going to let you guys attack while I start sifting through some of these.
Okay. Fear of cold calling. Really, I think cold calling is just something that just gets natural. It gets easier with time, with practice. There's so many nuances to really feel comfortable on the phone that a script doesn't help. The only way to really just overcome that is just to do it. You're going to sound terrible. It's going to suck. You're going to mess it up. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to look like an idiot. All of that is fine. It's normal. It's expected. You just do it. It's okay. I'm here to tell you it's okay if you sound dumb on the phone, because you can't sound great on the phone until you first sound dumb on the phone. So it's okay. Just know that it's okay. Don't worry about, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm going to offend somebody, or I'm going to waste whatever the things are you're saying that it means. What are you making it mean if you have a fear of cold calling? What are you making it mean if you have rejection? If you change what you make it mean, then it's easy. Then it's just like, they said no, they're not motivated, whatever, next. And you don't take it personally. The fear is the rejection I'm taking personally, and it's making me feel bad about myself, right? That's why we have a problem with it. once we eliminate that, then it's just like next phone call. Okay, I got a smile on my face. I'm here to help people. I'm blessing lives. I'm changing lives. My life, other people's lives. This is awesome. Every no is that much closer to a yes. I got this. And then you show up again on the next call, and it's fine, right? So I think just keep practicing and keep doing it, and you'll get better.
Right. The only way you're gonna grow is by just doing it, right? So you're not going to get better by thinking about it, right? You're going to get better by actually going through the process. And you're going to screw up and make mistakes, look bad, feel stupid, and then you take the next step. It might be daunting to try to figure out, like, I got a day's worth of cold calling to do. Just look at it for the next hour. I'm going to do the cold calling for the next hour. Just focus on it one step at a time, and not worry about it. Don't worry about being, making mistakes.
Couple mindset tricks. The phone is a 60-pound porcupine, so just put on a glove and pick it up. Like, that's the first one. Second one is, I should do a number two. That's not a second. That's a second. So second one is, you have to have the mindset that I'm one phone call away. One phone call away from someone that needs my help, and that you could make a potential $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. But that's one phone call away. Every phone call is one phone call closer to the person that needs you. Third mindset is, welcome people that are going to tell you to go pound sand and to F off. And when you hear it, I want you to put a huge smile on your face and say, oh my gosh, I must be doing something right. Cody told me someone was going to tell me to pound sand, and just smile. And if you have that mindset, they can't break you. They can't hurt your feelings. Just have the mindset. You're going to have someone tell you to go pound sand and go F off. It's okay. And when you hear that, just say, I'm doing it right. I'm getting people to tell me to F off. I freaking love this game. And you're one phone call closer to someone saying yes.
Yep. Love that.
Couple more. Do you need a closing agent? Jerry?
Well, yeah, you're going to use a title company, or depending on your state, it could be an attorney, closing, or title company, escrow company. But yeah, they're going to close the transaction. They're going to do a title search. They're going to do title insurance. They're going to make sure taxes are prorated. They're going to do all of that. So yeah, I mean, you definitely want to get a free and clear warranty deed. That's what your buyer is going to want. So line up with a wholesaler friendly title company in your market. If you don't know one, talk to the players in town. They're going to all have one that they use. Use the same one all the wholesalers in town are using, because they're going to be good at it. And, just as soon as you get your contract, open escrow. As soon as you get your assignment, get that over to your closing company, and they'll handle the whole transaction. And it's not that scary.
Love it. Love it. Best place to find cash buyers. Bob, how did you build your cash buyers so quick?
So I worked on it. The first thing I was doing was calling for sale by owners. I was calling from Zillow, from just all kinds of different things, getting better at it. I got a point where I had about 200, and then I started trading lists, and I worked on it from a collaboration point of view with other wholesalers. I had a list of 200. I got to 400. I had 400. I traded with somebody who gave me 600. And I've got to the point where I've got somewhere around 10,000 cash buyers at this point, just from trading and working with other wholesalers.
Yeah, baby.
That's a cool strategy.
Jerry, how do I find the best zip codes for wholesaling?
Well, great question. I mean, what I try to do is I try to look at my market, and I don't really say, well, I'm going to focus on this zip code and really not that zip code. If it falls into my metro, geographical area, I really don't care about the zip code. So I don't put a lot of weight on that, because there's a buyer at everything. There's a buyer at higher price points, lower price points. I don't really care. I'm going to look at the value. I'm going to look at, my maximum allowable offer. Is that a good number that's going to allow me to do a wholesale or a flip or whatever? So I'm not real sure, where that's coming from, why you think you need to be in a specific zip code over another zip code. I don't know. How would you tackle that, Cody?
I would only I love what Jerry just said, and I agree with you 100%. The only reason I would look for hot zip codes is if you're budget restricted, and so that you have to just get zoned in on, man, I have a tax delinquent list. There's 10,000 names, but I don't have the money to send postcards to all 10,000 names. So then the best thing to do is now look for hot zip codes. And I just look at the last 6 months in sales and find the area that has the most sold homes. Like you'll see an area that's like, oh, 4 homes sold in here. Then you got this area that's like 56 homes sold in this zip code. And then you got this area that has 160 homes sold in this zip code. Find the zip codes that transactions are taking place. And now you can narrow that list down from 10,000, maybe down to 2,000. And it's now in your budget. So that's the only reason I would go for zip codes. Other than that, I agree with Jerry 100%. It's all about the numbers. I'm going to send, if I have the budget, to all 10,000.
One other thing I would add is I would just talk to my cash buyers and find out where they're looking to buy homes and just focus on those areas.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, that's really easy to do. If you go on Zillow, you type in the zip code under find and then click on sold, put a time frame like, 12 months or 1 month or whatever time frame you want to look at. And then it'll show you, it'll give you a list and it'll say, 427 sold homes over the past 12 months in that zip code. And then you can kind of do a comparison with other zip codes and figure that out. But again, I understand. I think the only reason why that would really be relevant is, like Cody said, is, hey, I only want a list of 1,000. Where do I get where's the best place to get the 1,000? And that might be a reason why you would do that.
2 more questions. You guys good with that?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. And then Jerry, I'll turn over the time on the end to you for kind of housekeeping items on what they can expect so they can have this live on and do all its thing. Here's one. My brother and I are meeting with a FSBO, for sale by owner. For those that don't, FSBO, FSBO, for sale by owner tomorrow. Brand new to wholesaling. Any tips? Why don't we each say one quick tip? Bob.
I would listen more than speak.
I love it. Jerry.
Do not walk out of there without a contract.
Oh, you took mine, you dirtbag. I should have let you go last, you homer. Oh, all right. Well, now that is, because that's my strategy, guys. Okay, so we got listen, and that's so good. Listen more you speak. God gave you 2 ears, 1 mouth. Okay, so tip, Cody, quit dragging your feet. Go in there with the mindset to serve them, not sell them.
Perfect.
All right. And there was one in here, right here, I believe. Jerry, how do you overcome this? I don't do a lot of on market, but I think this is a brilliant question.
Yeah. So Eddie, great question. Eddie's a regular, viewer and comments a lot on my videos. So thank you, Eddie, for this question. I run into this almost daily with my on-market leads where the agent says, well, don't you want to go look at this property? Or we don't want to accept an offer if you haven't seen it. It's very common. It's an old school agent thing. It's just what they do, even though that may not be necessary. So what I do is I say to that agent, I say, you know what? Now don't do this unless you can, but I'll say, I'm going to waive my inspection. Okay. Be careful with this. I'm going to waive my inspection. So it doesn't matter if I go see it or not, because I've got no inspection contingency, which is the reason why you're having an issue with me not seeing it. You don't want to contract it. Then I go look at it and then I don't like it. I'm waiving my inspection. Now, I'm not really waiving my inspection because I'm talking right now. I'm verbally getting them to understand that I don't need to see it. I'm so confident in my number that I don't need to see it. And it doesn't matter if I see it anyway. If I've got no inspection, what does it matter anyway? And then in the window of time between when the agent actually gets me a contract in writing, because they have to write the offer, I send my guy to the property and we do our walkthrough. So I got to have my guy on the ground lightning fast. I got to say to him, I need you over at this property in 20 minutes. I get my walkthrough done. Now I got eyes on it. I feel good about it. I've seen it. I feel I can now waive that inspection and win that deal with that agent, right? Because here's why, guys. Even if you wait till tomorrow, if it's a good deal, it's going to be gone. You cannot wait. So if you can't get to the property till tomorrow, there's going to be multiple offers and you're probably going to lose the deal. So that's how I'm handling that issue of, well, I want you to see it first. Hope that's helpful, Eddie.
Amazing. Gentlemen, ladies, everyone on here, If you've loved this, Jerry, what's the saying you would like them to plug in there? I don't even want to say it. I want to say it, but I'm like, it's not my saying. This is Jerry's saying.
Yeah. Well, first of all, guys, make sure you say thank you to Bob. He took time out of his schedule to be here. He's sharing about his deal. Be sure to leave a comment and say, Bob, you are a flipping genius. I mean, honestly, though, $10,000 on a deal that was highly competitive, sharing how you did that, your tips about building the relationship, asking to be the last shot at it. Those are some awesome tips, guys. Thank you, Bob. You are a flipping genius. And the other things that you shared. Also, Cody, you're a flipping genius. Make sure you leave a comment and say that. We really appreciate that. And housekeeping, guys, once this live stream ends, the chat gets shut down, and then the video will sit on YouTube or on Cody's Facebook. It'll sit on there now. But if you want to participate in the video, go ahead to the comment section, leave comments there. Those will now stay there, and we can answer those after this ends. I try to go back and answer any questions after the live ends. So if you're watching this not live, or you have another question, or you didn't get a question answered, take that question over to the comment section, not the chat, and then we can keep that conversation going. Guys, we're trying to do these things every Tuesday, same time. Every Tuesday, we're going to pick topics. We're going to do live Q&A. We're going to invite awesome guests on like Bob, and we're going to really, try to serve and bless you as best we can, give as much as we can. I mean, we've been going for almost 2 hours here. So thank you guys for your confidence, for your trust. Thank you, Cody, for all your heart and soul that you put into this business, blessing lives. And Bob, we wish you also so much success. Hope to see you blow it up and continue to crush it in your business.
All right, Jerry. Thanks.
Love you guys. You guys are awesome. Love you guys that listened in and chimed in. You guys make this special. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. I did see this one, Jerry, and this is we appreciate this, by the way, this comment. Let me put it up here. Guys, we need you to answer more questions live. Please, pretty please. Guys, thank you for this. This is the stuff we love. We love seeing this because this is what's going to help us continue. We're so new at this, guys. We're on week 8, for heaven's sake. So this feedback's awesome. So thank you. This does not bug us. This is perfect. This is what we want. So next week, what we'll do, maybe we'll spend like 15 minutes and just like case study. And then the rest of the time is just Q&A, and we'll test it and see how it goes and see if we hit it, what we need to hit. But guys, thank you for that feedback. We love honest feedback, and we take it. We have bulletproof vest on. This doesn't offend us. We love this. So thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Awesome.
All right.